Journalists seek to minimize harm. They're supposed to. Publishing the name only maximized harm and did not in any way change the story. But
so Tim, who's definitely just pushing one side of the narrative in this story, has been instrumental in utilizing Libs of TikTok multiple times to point out, hey, look how wild these SJWs are. Look at them. They're trying to indoctrinate our children, as did a lot of other people, whether it was Joe Rogan. This individual in question, Chaya Raichik, she went on to Tucker Carlson twice. This is the largest news program on in America right now. They are incredibly newsworthy. They were collaborating directly with Ron DeSantis' press secretary, again, making this an incredibly newsworthy story, and in many ways shaping policy itself in the war on trans people.
We're also going to buy billboards in Times Square calling out the establishment. We are going to get commercials on TV.
Oh my God, he's still grifting. he's still saying, hey, by the way, please come subscribe to timcast.com, because here's what you get. If you do it, you'll get more Taylor Lorenz style billboards in New York. This is praxis, all you conservatives. Come on, do a praxis, support Timcast, get them richer, and you'll get more billboards. Let's see about your big old billboard. Tim Pool's had a great week.
How many of you didn't believe me? How many? I know you're out there. I tweeted, Libs of TikTok was doxxed by Taylor Lorenz in the Washington Post. What do I got to do? Do I got to buy a billboard in Times Square? Well, I got one. With the help of Jeremy Boring over at the Daily Wire, we were able to put this together very, very quickly. I got to say, shout out to the Daily Wire crew for helping make this possible as quickly as we did, because this is, it's truly magical. I tweeted, the Washington Post and Taylor Lorenz doxed at Libs of TikTok. They included a link to private work details and an address listed as Libs' private home. They lied about it, so I got an ad in Times Square calling them out, thanks to Jeremy Boring for the assist. For those that aren't familiar with the story, let me give you the breakdown. But first, well, I'll give you the quick gist. Libs of TikTok, you can see here on the right, criticizes the left, mostly aggregates videos of left-wing individuals saying things that are shocking, abhorrent, or otherwise embarrassing. Taylor Lorenz, a journalist for the Washington Post, revealed the identity, but also in the article linked to private work details. Now, I have the archive here to prove it. I can't show what happens when I click that link, because it would reveal private details which would get this video taken down. Taylor Lorenz says it is patently...
Well, fundraising for this billboard, didn't Tim Pool neglect to mention Jeremy Boring pay for half the billboard? He didn't neglect to mention it. So he starts out by saying, hey, to afford this, we can really use your support. Why don't you all come down to Timcast, come over, please subscribe, all that kind of stuff. We're doing great things. Look at the kind of stuff we can pull off. And then afterwards, scrolled down and revealed that, yeah, in fact, someone was actually going to be covering half the cost of the billboard shortly afterwards.
False.
So, A, uses it to fundraise, and then right after using it successfully to fundraise, I can only assume that people were like, oh, shit, yes, I heed the call. He afterwards was like, and by the way, someone is fronting a very large part of the bill.
False. That her Libs of TikTok story linked to personal info. Lorenz suggests conservatives reject her story because they don't want scrutiny. It's just an outright lie. So here we go. I got a billboard in Times Square, and this is what it looks like. So it says, hey, WAPO, democracy dies in darkness. That's why we're shining a light on you. Oh, so there's a jump cut. But it says, that's why we're shining a light on you. And it says, Taylor Lorenz doxed Libs of TikTok, at Timcast. That's how you know it was from me. Thanks very much, guys. I said I was going to do it. I did it. Again, shout out to the Daily Wire crew. Look, I don't know if getting a billboard pushing back on the lies is the most effective way to get things done, but it felt like something should be done to get some attention, because I am just sick of the lies. I am sick of the lies. Here's the story from Fox News. On April 22nd, Washington Post's internet culture columnist Taylor Lorenz deflected any criticism she received for her report doxing the identity of the popular Twitter personality Libs of TikTok. Lorenz sat down for an interview with CNN's Brian Stelter on his Reliable Sources podcast, where he confronted her on the various complaints conservatives had in response to her story, but barely pressed her with any follow-up questions, dismissing her critics as being nitpicky. The journalist began by justifying the newsworthiness of revealing the person behind the Twitter account that yields such power, saying, for all we knew, this could have been a foreign actor, full stop. You're correct, Taylor. I agree. For all we know, it could have been a foreign actor. And absolutely, I think you should do some investigative reporting to figure out who's behind these influential accounts. I will also note that a Saudi prince has tremendous influence in Twitter, or did at least until Elon Musk purchased it, and that also is of deep concern to me. Now, once you discovered it wasn't a foreign actor, what was the purpose of publishing the name of Libs of TikTok? You said, well, people should know. Okay, fine, I guess. Taking away the anonymity of a political actor because they're influential, perhaps. But even Matthew Iglesias, a liberal, formerly of Vox.com, one of the co-founders, said the name was immaterial to the story. Oh, it turns out to be some random crank. Right. Journalists seek to minimize harm. They're supposed to. Publishing the name only maximized harm and did not in any way change the story. But
so Tim, who's definitely just pushing one side of the narrative in this story, has been instrumental in utilizing Libs of TikTok multiple times to point out, hey, look how wild these SJWs are. Look at them. They're trying to indoctrinate our children, as did a lot of other people, whether it was Joe Rogan. This individual in question, Chaya Raichik, she went on to Tucker Carlson twice. This is the largest news program on in America right now. They are incredibly newsworthy. They were collaborating directly with Ron DeSantis' press secretary, again, making this an incredibly newsworthy story, and in many ways shaping policy itself in the war on trans people. Now, there's a couple stories that have come out recently about their continued activity. One of the big ones, Libs of TikTok tweeted a fake accusation about a school teaching second graders about furries. Second graders are learning about furries in school. That's what prominent right-wing Twitter account Libs of TikTok said in a tweet on Monday. However, it turns out Libs of TikTok fell for a troll. The accusations he tweeted were faked. A second grade teacher in Austin allegedly gave students worksheets on furries. The account, which is run by conservative activist Chaya Raichik, claimed these included a furry word search and an activity on designing your own furry persona. So here it is, and these are the documents in question. Absolutely shocked and furious right now. My second grade teacher came home with this material, and my school wants to teach kids how to be furries. I would love to know who is responsible for this decision, and I'm going to see the principal about this first thing tomorrow. By the way, back in the day, if someone was like, hey, kids are dressing up as animals, would that be seen as being utterly perverse, or just kind of kids being kids and playing? But anyways, apparently, this is the indoctrination that is coming directly from the teachers. In a tweet, Libs of TikTok embedded two photos, a screenshot from the Facebook post claiming to be the concerned parent of one of those second grade teachers, and a picture of the alleged furry-related coursework. The worksheet included a Design Your Persona page, which supposedly asked students to pick out their furry's gender, and a furry's word search. In addition, the sheet pictured allegedly informed parents that their students would be learning about the youth subcultures from goths to furries for Culture Month. So these are all the documents in question, and we can see some very scary-looking furry-like creatures here and here. There's some things saying my persona is male, female, non-binary, my god. And then there's a furry word search with a very clear furry here, and then a picture of two children, which is extra frightening. And then you can find furry words, my god, like vixen, disgusting. How could they put that in there? Scaly, Pokemon, the grossest of all things. The Libs of TikTok account also included the Twitter handle for the Austin Independent School District. So here we go. Once again, directly implicating the school district in this, in an account that, when putting people on blast, has shown to get people everything from a whole bunch of angry emails, phone calls, to death threats. A district that runs 125 schools based in Austin, Texas, in a tweet. As a result, they received thousands of inflammatory tweets alleging that they were teaching sexual fetishes to children, grooming young kids, and accusing the school district of child abuse. Mashable reached out to the school district via phone and email correspondence. Austin ISD Media Relations Manager Christian Nugent confirmed that these worksheets were not taught in any second grade class and were not part of the district's curriculum. Our curriculum team looked at the resources, and it is not in our curriculum, nor is it part of the counseling or social emotional learning. She also said the Libs of TikTok tweet interrupted the daily functions of the district as they were inundated with messages regarding the tweet. So it interrupted their work. So it's not unsurprising that Austin ISD wasn't able to find these worksheets in their curriculum. It's because they were created by an online troll on the website r/drama, specifically for the purpose of tricking reactionary internet users like Raichik. In a since-deleted post that was archived via Google on April 13, 12 days before Libs of TikTok fell for the fakes, members discussed the Furry Culture Month school worksheet troll created by one of r/drama's moderators. The post compiles a number of Reddit posts created by the mod in an attempt to trick users. The whole thing was birthed as a way to troll people, to get people to fall for it. And as you'll find in the fake furries word search printout, r/drama is hidden inside the very words themselves. Now, here's the big problem with someone like Libs of TikTok being held completely unaccountable, and people like Tim Pool saying the real victim here is the Libs of TikTok getting doxed by this journalist in the Washington Post. I actually need to go forward and spend thousands and thousands of dollars to let everyone know about that on a billboard in Times Square. Is that this account, which now has over 1 million followers, which in some ways is larger than news accounts on Twitter, if they're beholden to no one, if their editorial staff is just one person, in this case the runner of the account, and they will fall for tricks like this, and then when they fall for tricks like this, they will use it to again direct people towards a specific school district that gets them thousands and thousands of angry messages or death threats or worse. That is incredibly dangerous, and they again are amplified by Tucker Carlson, by Joe Rogan, both being the largest news hostcast in America and the largest podcaster in America, amplifying their stories, amplifying the outrage to more people. This outrage porn has very serious real-world consequences, and it's unfortunately directly being instigated towards teachers and students at the same time. However, since deleted tweets from Libs of TikTok account shows that it had previously doxed individuals sharing physical addresses, place of work, phone numbers, and emails connected to the targeted persons. Libs of TikTok also encouraged her followers to call the listed phone number. Those deleted tweets include a post accusing the LGBTQ suicide prevention hotline, the Trevor Project, of being a grooming organization. Again, that means that they are stating that this organization tries to coerce children into having sexual relationships, which of course is 100% false. This isn't the first time Rychik has posted fake stories. The account previously spread a conspiracy theory about schools leaving out litter boxes for students that were choosing to identify as cats. Libs of TikTok was previously run anonymously. That is until last week when the Washington Post journalist Taylor Lorenz uncovered Chaya Rychik was behind the account, in large part thanks to the work of Glenn Greenwald, which confirmed parts of the story, as well as the fact that Chaya Rychik made her full name available publicly because she registered her domain on a .us domain, which means she had to legally put her legal name on it, so it was able for people in the public to find. It was not as if that was never publicly available, and then the Washington Post were the ones who made it publicly available, unlike what Tim Pool will tell you. Now, things are getting a little bit scarier. I'm not sure if everyone heard this story. This was released today. A California man was arrested for making violent threats against Merriam-Webster over the dictionary company's gender definitions. The Department of Justice announced Friday Jeremy David Hansen, 34, from Mosmore, California, could face prison time if convicted for anonymously sending what authorities describe as violent, despicable, hate-filled messages. Between October 2nd and October 8th, 2021, Merriam-Webster received a series of threatening messages and comments demonstrating bias against specific gender identities on its website submitted through the Contact Us page. According to a criminal complaint, after threats, Merriam-Webster closed its offices in Springfield, Massachusetts, and New York City, New York for 5 business days. Under the dictionary's website definitions, the word female, Hansen allegedly wrote, "There is no such thing as gender identity. The imbecile who wrote this entry should be hunted down and shot." Through the website's Contact Us page, Hansen allegedly submitted the following message: "You, sick headquarters should be shot up and bombed. It is sickening that you have caved to the cultural Marxist, anti-science T-slur agenda and altered the definition of female as part of the left's efforts to corrupt and degrade the English language to deny reality. You evil Marxists should all be killed. It would be poetic justice to have someone storm your offices and shoot up the place, leaving none of you commies alive." Authorities said Hansen was using the handle @AnonYemos for the allegedly sending the threats. Interesting. I wonder if there's a Wayback Machine that shows whether or not this account had ever seen or liked anything on Libs of TikTok's account. He also accused of sending another message to Merriam-Webster threatening to bomb your offices for lying. Hansen also allegedly threatened other institutions and individuals, including the American Civil Liberties Association, Amnesty International, Land O'Lakes, Hasbro, IGN Entertainment, holy shit, the president of the University of North Texas, 2 professors, Aloya Marymount University, and a New York rabbi, the DOJ said. Joseph R. Bonavonta, special in charge of the FBI Boston Division, said Hansen's alleged threats crossed the line. Everyone has a right to express their opinion, but repeatedly threatening to kill people, as he's been alleging, takes it to a new level. Hansen now faces charges on 1 count of interstate communication, threats to commit violence, which could land him in prison for 5 years and 3 years of supervised release and a fine of $250,000 if convicted. Another story. Person who allegedly threatens a school board, president charged. The man who allegedly sent a threatening message to the Eau Claire School Board president has officially been charged in Eau Claire County, according to a criminal complaint. Jeremy D. Hansen, 33, of Los Alamos, California, sent a threat just before noon on March 21st, 2022. The threat read, "I'm going to kill you and shoot up your next school board meeting for promoting horrific racial transgender agendas. It is now time to declare war on you pedos. I'm going to kill you and your entire family." Hansen used the email address debt2marxist@gmail because it was sent through the school district contact page. Police worked with the ECASD Internet Technology personnel to track down the IP address. The IP address was traced to Los Alamos, California, and the police learned the threat appeared to have been sent from a PlayStation 4. Speaking with officials from the Orange County Sheriff's Department, Eau Claire Law Enforcement learned who the defendant was and who had open cases with the FBI for making similar threats over jurisdictions. Hansen was charged Tuesday for making terrorist threats and faces 3 years and 6 months if convicted. California man charged for threatening to shoot up Eau St. Clair School Board meeting. Federal investigators said the man who threatened gun violence at a Eau Claire School Board meeting also claimed he would bomb the offices of the dictionary publisher Merriam-Webster for including references to gender identity in its definition of a female. On Friday, the U.S. Attorney's Office and District of Massachusetts accountant Jeremy David Hansen, 34, of Rossmore, California, have been arrested for sending numerous anonymous threats of violence towards individuals, organizations, or businesses nationwide in October. Why am I bringing this all up? It's pronounced Eau Claire. It's actually technically, wouldn't it be Eau Claire? Eau is French for water. But yeah, I could do Eau Claire. It doesn't matter to me. Here's where some investigation could be done, because this is not a deleted tweet by the Libs of TikTok. This one is still up as of right now. This was posted on March 7th, 2022. Holy shit, a slide from this staff training instructs teachers that parents are not entitled to know their kids' gender identities and it must be earned. They are hiding information about sexual orientation and gender and teaching students not to trust their parents. And then scrolling to the bottom, hi, Michael Johnson, superintendent at U St. Clair Area School District. Why are you grooming kids? This one is still up. This one hasn't been taken down. Now, again, we do not have a direct correlation whether or not this individual in question was someone who either replied to or was someone who followed or viewed the Libs of TikTok account. However, at this point, it does seem incredibly sus that, again, one of the most prominent accounts on Twitter that does this activity in which they will single out single districts, individuals, teachers, principals, all that kind of stuff, accuse them of pedophilia or grooming, providing, various things as their evidence. Now we have something which you could define as a stochastic terrorist attack based on their fear of the radical trans agenda. Investigators said the text threat came from an IP address tied to a home in Rossmore, California, where Hansen lives with his mother. The threats included an email to the CEO of Walt Disney stating, "You Marxist corporatists are the enemies of America, and I will kill you and your entire family for promoting transgender child abuse." Hansen also threatened to bomb the headquarters of toy maker Hasbro for dropping the Mr. Potato Head, investigators said. All the things, by the way, I mean, there's not one, the problem with this is it'd be difficult to point directly and only to Libs of TikTok when this is the same stuff being pushed by Jack Pacific, Tucker Carlson. I mean, you name it, your conservative firebrand has been going after Disney for being a, quote, groomer organization. The Quartering is in there as well, and accusing, like, all the culture war issues, one by one, they seem to be here, you know? Marxist corporatists. Yeah, these are all GOP talking points, resulting in someone now being arrested on terrorist charges, which is pretty fucked up. I know, Marxist corporatists, that's a bit of an oxymoron. In late March, U St. Clair Area School District Board Education President Tim Norden said he received an anonymous email from a sender calling themselves to kill all Marxist teachers that included direct threats against him and his family. The sender also said they would shoot up school board meetings and evening for promoting the horrific racial transgender agenda. Nordic told the Wisconsin Public Radio he's thankful to U St. Clair and FBI for making sure this person issuing terroristic threats has been identified and hopefully will be brought to justice. This is something that people in our county are specifically amping up right now, and it does also amp up those who are very fringe as well that might likely by the issue these threats or even, commit acts of violence. A statement sent to WPR by the LGBT plus advocacy organization Fair Wisconsin said the threats to Norden and others is a grave reminder that anti-LGBTQ plus rhetoric has real consequences on the safety and well-being. When our politicians single out LGBTQ plus people people, especially transgender kids, and make political spectacles out of bullying them. It sets a dangerous example. Fair Wisconsin Executive Director Miguel McDowell, LGBTQ plus advocates I work with in Texas told me they're seeing higher levels of harassment and attacks on transgender youth after a legislative session that platformed anti-transgender misinformation. Court documents show FBI agents interviewed Hansen and his mother July 2015 in relation to threats he had made via a Wikipedia page. Hansen's mother told the investigators at the time that he suffers from developmental disorders, including autism, and is unable to reason through the consequences of making statements that could be construed as threats. Hansen told investigators in 2015 he felt remorse for the threats he made and that he promised to refrain from sending any threatening remarks via social media or online in the future. Hansen faces 1 count of interstate communication or threats to commit violence, which carry the maximum penalties of up to 5 years in prison and a fine of $250,000. It's like, this kind of shit is incredibly frightening, and again, it's a direct result of both the culture of outrage and fear that conservatives are pushing out there, but also, in the case of Libs of TikTok, direct lies. Like, if Libs of TikTok has made this tweet in which they're directly saying that the superintendent of the U St. Clair area district, why are you grooming kids? This one's still up, by the way. Why are you grooming kids? This means, why are you trying to solicit a sexual relationship with children, superintendent? And leaving this up there, again, of all the ones the Libs of TikTok has deleted, this is not one of them. And in his pursuit of, I'm so tired of the gaslighting, says Tim Pool. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. Everyone wanted to admit that Taylor Lorenz is the true enemy of the people here, and willing to spend money on these giant billboards. I can pretty much safely say that there's not going to be a single reporting on of Tim Pool on this individual, the one who has just been doing all these threats, both to Webster's Dictionary, IGN, Hasbro, all that kind of stuff, school board districts, all those things. It's not going to be brought up.
Address. They sent me the. That's easy, right? Of course, you hire some good journalists, people you know and trust. We make sure we have strong standards.
How tall are you and Dave? I don't know Dave's height off the top of my head. I am 6'2". I am quite tall by societal standards. I often have tall people problems, like in roller coasters. It's squishy. But I know that deserves has mods, because most people are like, oh yeah, it sucks to be tall.
But I'll tell you what else
in a society that seems to, cherish one thing over the other.
For one, you'll get access to members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast. We're also going to buy billboards in Times Square calling out the establishment. We are going to get commercials on TV.
Oh my God, he's still grifting. he's still saying, hey, by the way, please come subscribe to timcast.com, because here's what you get. If you do it, you'll get more Taylor Lorenz style billboards in New York. This is praxis, all you conservatives. Come on, do a praxis, support Timcast, get him richer, and you'll get more billboards.
I'm not going to go crazy because it is really expensive.
Tall people do younger. This is true.
What we're going to be doing. We are pushing back. Now, some people have said Taylor Lorenz is real age is
wow.
this, that, or otherwise.
You would dwarf
the other
me.
night on Timcast IRL, I got mad. They're like, she's 49 years old. Is she lying about her age? I don't care about her age. Ian said, well, if she's actually 43 but lying, saying she's younger, that's important too. And I'm like, yeah, look. People want to make fun of her for being ugly. They want to make fun of her clothes. That is immaterial. I don't care about that. Taylor could be a supermodel or be fugly. None of that matters. What matters is Taylor is a journalist.
Tall women do have a rough time, aside from the challenge of finding pants that are long enough. There's all still a social stigma against tall women. Yeah, I'd say in the same vein, there's a very large social stigma against shorter men. Like, it's unfortunate. I've, like, a lot of my friends who are women have stated that, like, they wouldn't date a partner who's shorter than them. And I'm like, that's a really weird bias to have. I was like, I stand short kings, you know? I think, I don't think the dynamic looks weird at all when you have, like, a shorter guy and a taller woman, or vice versa. I mean, maybe that's just me. I've always had a thing for shorter guys.
You want to call her that because of this story. But no, she works for the Washington Post.
The main thing with being 6'6" is that most pants aren't long enough. Oh, I imagine so. I have a lot of trouble finding well-fitting clothes at 6'2", or finding like shoes when you have, like, you know, really huge feet. That, like, in Canada they do not sell big shoes. They don't sell size 15s a lot here. It's like I have to go to America because Americans, they sell a lot of huge shoes. But like that's definitely a thing. But like that's the limits of, like, you know, the struggle, I guess, is trying to find clothes that fit when you're
her personal
taller.
life.
But I couldn't imagine being 6'6". Yeah, that's got to be outrageous. Because I have trouble sometimes finding long pants at 6'2". At 6'6", like you must have to go to that store, Big and Tall, right? Like that's the whole point.
Immaterial. What matters is, as a professional working for one of the largest newspapers in the world, she published private information in this story directly linking to it, and then lied about it.
So I'm not entirely sure about the lied about it, but I think Matt Binder, who's been at the forefront of debunking all of Glenn Greenwald and Tim Pool and the other right-wingers' lies in this story, did a good expose. I believe it was a private address, and I want to just verify that. It was a private address of a real estate firm in which she worked, and I do not agree with them having linked to something that doxes that private real estate firm for the sole purpose of there is other people who work at that real estate firm, and I would not like them to be involved in the story, but they then deleted it for that very reason, as is my understanding. But if I'm being totally and this is kind of the thing that sucks with, I guess, the struggle, if you want to be honest, on the left, is it's such an uphill battle to constantly be like, well, at the end of the day, I think everyone should acknowledge that this is only partially true. Like a good example of that was the other day with James Lindsay and the fact that we were going back and forth, and like, you know, to be principled, and I still agree with this. I don't think people should call James Lindsay a groomer just because he happens to be frenzies with someone who was in the NXIVM cult, a very high up person who's in the NXIVM cult, because again, that's not direct evidence that he has tried to coerce children into sexual relationships. But even by saying that to him, he responds with, okay, groomer. You know, and it just shows you, like, and it's so much easier for, he doesn't have to do any research. He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't even have to understand what that word means. He's actually tried to change the meaning of it a number of times. But like, it's so much easier for him to type okay groomer, and then that'll get thousands of likes on Twitter, and then get thousands of people filling my comments with groomer, you know, you're a groomer, because they don't care. That's the problem.
I don't care if she wants to do the doxing. What I mean is, I think it's bad and I'll criticize it, but that's about all I do. I'd say, wow, that was wrong. They shouldn't do that. But Taylor Lorenz is trying to gaslight us, and the Washington Post is trying to gaslight us. And for this, we must have a proper rebuttal. Times Square billboard ad will be up. There you go. Ruffle up some feathers. We will do more things like this. I will not sit back as people spit in our faces with lies. You want to wear certain clothes? I don't care. You want to be around whoever you love? I don't care. You civil rights, all of that stuff, fantastic. I love it. Let people love who they love. Don't be mean to people. Don't insult people. I am not here
Holy fuck, Tim, these are all lies. Come on. You gotta just take the mask off. You'll be more comfortable. Take the beanie off. It won't be as itchy. Like, come on. At the end of the day, you are on one side of the story in such a, like, transparently blatant way, for the simple reason that this is what is concerning to you. This is what's important to you. You want the libs of TikTok to be able to continue to do what they do, which again is falsely accuse teachers and students of being pedophiles and get them doxed. Like, you're fine with doxing in one direction if it goes towards the LGBTQ plus community. That's it. Like, holy shit.
Play games where people want to just insult someone's appearance or call them dumb. That's stupid. No, but I will call Taylor Lorenz a liar, and I will call her out. Now, let me show you some other good news in the realm of fake news. This, my friends, is the Daily Beast. Why this Hawaii senator lost his ish on Josh Hawley. I don't care for this story. What I care is the NewsGuard rating. Up in the top right, you will see NewsGuard has put a red exclamation point on the Daily Beast. This is fantastic news. The tides are turning, my friends. Truth is beginning to claw its way out of this pile of refuse. And I'm glad to see it. The Daily Beast, once a prestigious paper, I believe it was attached to Newsweek. It was like the digital arm of Newsweek. Once they won awards and things like that. Now, NewsGuard says, proceed with caution. This website fails to adhere to several basic journalistic standards. That's right. The Daily Beast, a prominent New York digital leftist publication, is now deemed to be fake news. The NewsGuard nutrition label says it does not gather information responsibly, it does not correct or clarify errors, and it does not handle the difference between news and opinion responsibly. For that, they have a 57 out of 100, which is a red exclamation point. Now, to be fair, it does say it does not repeatedly publish false content. I think that's funny considering when you go into NewsGuard's review, it literally talks about all of the fake news they posted about Kyle Rittenhouse. It really is a sight to behold. I would also like to point out the Daily Beast wrote several fake things about me, too.
Oh, that took forever to find. Sorry. Okay, Tim Pool, this is a lie, but they know how to prove it. I'd have to publish the documents showing the actual home address. Taylor Lorenz linked to a document in her story that included the private home address. The address was shared with an LLC, but it was a commercial residential mix. Every single realtor at the company she worked for is tied to that address. It's a public-facing work address for a business that is open to the public. You continue to claim she lived at her employer's address and offer no proof. Tim is upset because he lives at his work. Like, just so you know, and yes, there are hybrid models, and there are models in which people actually can live and work in their same home address. But if you have like a real estate firm, it's most likely going to be in a business licensed area, and a business licensed area does not allow you to just set up a cot in the back and then live there. You know, they most likely won't have like a shower or something like that. It'll have like a washroom as is required by the code. But like, yeah, you can't just like live inside a real estate firm. So again, once like Tim is lying, even in the one piece that he's trying to say, like, this is the one piece of evidence I have. They linked to this, and this was her private address, I say. And now it's a real estate address, I say, but still.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, we are prepared to embark on a mighty jihad in your name. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your humble jester, attempting in vain to get you to laugh. To our valiant knights of the Round Table, Benji Arnie, Tech Tink, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Mayred, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood. It doesn't matter what I believe, it only matters what I can prove. Egbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Coulter Smith, Jenna Tao, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevbot, EXE, Brian Ephraim, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojack, Saren 42, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Agent NDN, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our mugs and salute our brave heroes off to another glorious conquest.